South Africa was commemorating Reconciliation Day today. The African National Congress also celebrating the 64th anniversary of the formation of its erstwhile military wing, uMkhonto weSizwe. For more on this, we're now joined by the ANC's first Deputy Secretary General, Nomvula Mokonyane. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time. And as we are reflecting on Reconciliation Day, it's also a day that the ANC is marking as well, the 64th anniversary of the inaugural public action by the military wing of the party. Let's talk about your reflections 64 years later.
Good evening, Bongiwe, and good evening to the viewers of SABC. Thanks for this opportunity. It marks 64 years of the founding of uMkhonto weSizwe, the armed wing of the African National Congress. It marks the day when the ANC and its alliance and the different formations then resolved that everything has failed. What we need to do is to take arms. Here we are now 64 years down the line. We need to celebrate as ex-combatants of uMkhonto weSizwe, as revolutionaries, those who were in exile and those who were at home, those who were in prison, and those who quietly helped to build uMkhonto weSizwe, to recommit ourselves to defend our communities, be part of the defense against crime, defense against corruption, defense against gender-based violence, form the street committees, and selflessly also build the ANC and ensure that out of the principled trainings that we received, some of us here at home, under the leadership of the commissars of uMkhonto weSizwe, maximize discipline, ensure that the ANC recovers, because it was in 1961, after the banning of the African National Congress, that young people and senior leaders of the ANC found it necessary to form an armed wing of the African National Congress. Today, let us become the wing that must defend our people, because over years, our people were actually the forest of uMkhonto weSizwe.
And you speak about a time when, you know, everything else had failed. As you say, it was time to take up arms. Over time, we've seen things change, with some of your members breaking away, for example, saying for them, it seems things have not worked and now it's time to change the course of action. COPE being formed in 2008, for example, the MK Party, what has become known as the MK Party, also being formed about 2 years ago. And they are also saying it seems that things aren't working and it might be time for a different course of action.
When things seem not to work, you don't walk away from the ANC. Those who were there in 1961 didn't walk away from the ANC. It was those who identified with the PAC that walked away from the ANC, but those who still believed in the revolutionary ideas for peace, for justice, for humanity, for equality in our country, took another course which was part of the 4 pillars of our revolution. It is time now that under this ANC, we must be intolerant of crimes against women and children. We must be intolerant of drugs. We must be intolerant of a weak ANC that is not activist-driven and activist-led. We must also be an ANC that is very patient with those who have doubts about the movement. Do not reject anyone, extend an olive branch, build unity, and of importance, take the risk that comes with a revolution. If you have to lose yourself in the movement, do it for the good of the African National Congress. We members of uMkhonto weSizwe, one of our own commitments is not only to serve the ANC, but to serve the people of South Africa.
Do you believe, though, you've done enough to defend the MK? And I ask this for the name because we've seen that court action. Do you think as a party you've done enough to defend it?
We still have to do more. The fact that we resolved to go to court is precisely because we want to preserve the heritage of our movement, not the counter-revolutionary intentions that go with what is happening today by those who claim that they are uMkhonto weSizwe. Combatants and the founders of uMkhonto weSizwe didn't walk away from the ANC. They founded MK for them to strengthen the African National Congress. We as ex-combatants of uMkhonto weSizwe, as loyal members of the ANC, as leaders of the African National Congress, it is time now to redefine that pillar of armed struggle, to then be part of our communities, to defend women, to defend young people, to defend people against this, who live with disability. But most importantly, Bongiwe, to even go to the highest court in the land to preserve this rich heritage.
All right.
This heritage cannot be left to counter-revolutionaries and anyone who walk away from the ANC. Those who founded uMkhonto weSizwe didn't walk away from the ANC. They embraced the ANC with the good and the bad and the ugly of the ANC. And today, they brought the ANC back home.
Quickly, before I let you go, you've seen the headlines with your chief whip, for example, in Parliament, Mdumiseni Ntuli, saying that the succession debate, for example, post the elections, if the ANC performs poorly at the polls next year, it should look beyond this current NEC for a president, someone who could lead the party. Is he correct? Is that something you're contending with within the party?
He's very wrong, Mdumiseni. There's no prescript on who must be the president. Anyone who's a member in good standing in the African National Congress has gone through the eye of the needle. Any member who belongs in the ANC. So for him to be territorial and think we are only bound to look at those who are in the NEC, he's actually wrong. It's a misreading and understanding of the ANC constitution. It's a misunderstanding of how processes go. If you nominate anyone, as long that member is a member in good standing and the member is in compliance with the constitution and the rule of the African National Congress, it's a story that he's trying to elaborate. And unfortunately, he's the leader of he's part of my team that leads the elections. He's part of the NEC. He has disqualified himself. And ANC members are not confined to look at the NEC. They are prescribed to look at members of the ANC who can go through the eye of the needle.
All right, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking to us, the ANC's first Deputy Secretary General, Nomvula Mokonyane.